often did the Lord, the God of their fathers, send his messengers to them. In the first reading today from the second book of Chronicles, we are brought to visit this period in the life of the people of Israel that was painful. The priests of God had lost their way and they had been exiled. The temple was gone and it seemed like there was no hope. It's a painful moment, painful for those in exile to recall what they had and what they lost, to recall their infidelities, and to live trapped knowing that they had erred, they'd lost their way. God was faithful, but they were not. And they were suffering in their flesh the consequences of that infidelity. If we stopped there, it would be a very sad story. And I could imagine that's a sad story for many people who suffer, who don't know the way out. How is this redeemed? And pause that there for a moment and just recall to our mind in this fourth week of Lent, that's actually Laetare Sunday. It's a time to rejoice. And so now we see this contradiction here, seemingly, that the church is asking us to rejoice, and yet we're contemplating all these painful things. We got up, we decided to follow Christ and ask him for that grace of a new heart to totally transform. We've decided that we're going to ask for hope, to live as children of hope, knowing in this Father who is trustworthy, to lovingly obey him and to seek to find him. The hardest thing sometimes is to persevere and be faithful in that. The fact is, we fall, we trip, we make mistakes, we sin. It happens. And so this is the experience of the people of Israel right now in exile. But here's the good news, is there is mercy, and that is the reason to rejoice. Because it doesn't matter how dark, how far the fall has been, God's mercy is like light in the midst of our darkness. Even if we are in the most horrible of places, we can lift up our gaze and find direction and find a way out. So this is indeed a time to rejoice. And while the people who should have been bringing God's message had failed, the priests and the leaders of Judah, God looks for another person, and he finds a pagan king, Cyrus, who becomes the bearer of good news, of redemption, of return, and even offering to build a new temple. And the temple was a place where God dwelt. In this Lenten season, if maybe we're discouraged because we've decided to do all these things and we've fallen down, God says to us today in his scripture, get up, rejoice. My mercy is greater than any sin. Aren't those the words of a loving Father who cheers us on, who takes us by the hand and wants to lead us into ever greener pastures? Let us run to him as his children.
This has been a production of the Duke Catholic Center. If you enjoyed this video, please consider a financial commitment to support our ministry here on Duke's campus. We're grateful for your support of vibrant Catholic life at Duke.